What's up, guys? Welcome to Among the Fence. My name is Aaron, and today I'm going to be talking about the new album Remade In Misery by the band Memphis May Fire. And this is my first time doing an actual full review on this band. For those of you who don't know who they are a metalcore band from Texas. Started around 2006, and this is their 7th studio album. And I gotta admit, I've never really been a huge fan of Memphis May Fire. The Hollow was a solid album, but I never really cared for anything past that. I don't know, I couldn't really get into it. They've always been a little too mainstream for me, chasing like the coattails of like Bullet for My Valentine and bands that sound similar that came before them. And in doing so, they never really did anything that stood out to me all that much. And it doesn't really help that Maddie Mullins has a history of saying really, really stupid things as well, which, I mean, we all make mistakes and we move past it, but it's another thing that just kept me away from the band when I wasn't already that big of a fan of them. And then all of a sudden he starts saying some stupid stuff live, and I'm just like, okay, well, I'm glad I don't even listen to that band. But I'm always willing to give them another chance, especially since some of the singles kind of piqued my interest a little bit, and I wanted to hear what the rest of the album sounded like. The album opens up with the song Blood and Water, which is about an abusive relationship where the abuser makes themselves out to be the victim. The riff is decent, but it definitely keeps the energy up going throughout the song and in the verses. The chorus is catchy with a good hook, but it just feels a little empty. I think the main reason for that is because its entire purpose is just to be catchy, and it uses a lot of cliche phrases. The breakdown is fairly boring and very cliche as well, while the bridge is basically just the chorus, just a little bit different. So the whole song, it's basically just radio play. Then we have the song Bleed Me Dry, which has a cool melody in the intro, but the verses just become drums and vocals, and the chorus feels like a little bit more of an amped up version of the verse. It just has bigger chords in it, and the distorted vocals sound good when they do come out, but it's not very often. And lyrics are definitely to the downfall of this song. I believe it's about just people wanting to see him fail, and it's very cheesy. It's almost like a child wrote them. Then we have the song Somebody, which starts out with a staticky riff, the synth beat, and equally staticky vocals. The rhythm and overall music of this song and the verses reminds me a lot of something that, I don't know, Imagine Dragons would write. And the vocal performance makes it really hard to take this song seriously. Lonely. And again, the chorus is just kind of there and doesn't really have much of a purpose to it. And speaking of bad lyrics, Death Inside seems to basically just be a compilation of overused and cliche phrases which have been used throughout songs, especially metalcore, for a very, very long time. And it seems to be like the main theme of this album is just a bunch of catchphrases. And the vocals come off being kind of Attila-esque, I guess you could say, trying to be in your face. And then it takes a complete 180 going into the chorus, and it tries to be a little bit more user-friendly, and it's a little bit more catchy, and it's just, it's like they can't really decide what they're trying to do in the song. And then the song The American Dream touches on the division in this country facing in like a very superficial way. It doesn't really dive into anything too deep because again, it all comes down to the lyrics just not really being all that bad. It's just saying that we disagree, and that's a problem, and that sucks. And he doesn't really go much further than that. The pre-chorus was good because the distorted vocals come out, and you can kind of feel the passion coming out in it. But like the melody in the chorus, it sounds good, but it just doesn't get much better than just the random distorted vocals coming out and just a little melody. There's not much else to this song. By the time I got to the song Your Turn, it really became a struggle. I couldn't get over how lazy the lyrics were, and they seem to just get worse and worse as the album goes on. Like the chorus in this song says, "What goes around comes around. That's how the world turns. You'll get what's coming to you, then maybe you'll learn." It's like he just had like this random thought in his head that he heard from something else probably, and changed 2 words in it and didn't come up with any different ways to say anything. And the entire song is basically generic as it gets. And then we have the song Make Believe, which starts out with a synth beat, and Maddie's starts singing about chemicals and how if he's alive or just breathing, just very basic stuff. And the bridge is kind of cringy, and it's just overly dramatic, which is kind of weird given how apathetic the rest of the song is. I did enjoy one song on this album, at least a little bit. I guess that would be the title track song, titled Misery. Starts out with a static riff and rapish style vocals that attempt to be in your face, and they don't really, it doesn't really work that well. The chorus does sound good and actually has a decent hook to it though. The verses are just the worst part of this song, and if you could get past that, it really isn't that bad. The bridge and breakdown, they aren't horrible. I mean, it's not the most original sounding thing you've ever heard, but the overall atmosphere of this song is actually, it's not bad. It's actually, I enjoyed it at least somewhat compared to the rest of the songs on this album. But then it just jumps right back into it again with the song Left for Dead, where the intro starts off kind of promising, but then the lyrics ruin it. But thankfully, the distorted vocals do make this a little bit hard to understand. So, I mean, I tried to just focus in on just not understanding what was being said and help me enjoy it a little bit more. The breakdown does bring some of the heaviness that we've been craving on this album. And the lead melody that plays just in the last little bit of the last chorus, you know, that's not that bad either. And then we have this song Only Human featuring AJ Channer. It's got a nice synth and some solid cadence with the vocals from AJ. But again, it's just okay. Like, there's kind of weird, awkward sounding hooks in the verse, and they come off kind of terrible after a while. The duet in the pre-chorus is fantastic though, and the vocals in the chorus are the best from Maddie that I've heard so far on this album. Even though they're clean, they just sound so freaking good. Just ignoring the lyrics throughout this song, especially like in the breakdown, it actually isn't that bad of a song either. Then we have the closing track, The Fight Within. This is probably, to me, it's probably the worst song on this album. It's very melodramatic with piano and very cheesy vocal effects. The lyrics, they just suck. And there's no depth or creativity to this song whatsoever. And I would say that this is a bad closing track, but honestly, it sums up how this entire album went. It just was not, it just doesn't do it. It isn't that good. Very generic. If I have to say anything good about this album, it would probably be the production, maybe. The production's decent. The drum work is pretty good. But, I mean, there's no, like, good riffs. Everything's very forgettable. It's basically the same thing over and over again musically. It's just lazy songwriting. Lyrics are just horrible. They're so boring, so bland. There's nothing memorable, nothing really worth mentioning throughout this album. It's very bland. There's no personality, very generic metalcore, but it goes even worse than that. I don't even know how it gets worse, but I mean, it really does, because I've heard some really bad metalcore in the past year, and this one, it feels like a cash grab almost. Like they just needed to come out with a new album, and they just needed to just do it, and they literally wrote every song and all the lyrics for all the songs in just like maybe like a day, if that. And they didn't think about anything else. They didn't try to like come up with any creativity or anything. They just did it today, and that was it. They didn't go over it again. They didn't find different ways to do things differently. This is just it. So with all that said, I got to give Remade in Misery by Memphis May Fire a 3.8 out of 10. But I want to know what you guys think. I know I probably pissed a lot of people off with this review, because I know there's a lot of Memphis May Fire fans out there. So yeah, leave a comment below letting me know what you thought of this album. If you love it, let me know why you love it. Don't just tell me I'm an idiot and you hate me. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, and let me know what you want me to review next as well. If you want to help support me and my channel, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell icon. Doing any of that stuff helps me out tremendously. Even if you don't have anything productive to say, you just want to let me know that you hate me, still, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen to me talk. And I hope you have a good rest of your day or night whenever you have me watching this. And I will talk to you guys next time.
I was trying to make it relying on my parents' said to say